Oh my gosh, gentlemen, this is such a good episode. So much great information in this episode. It's insane. It is loaded with so many biohacks, tips, and tricks. This guest, I cannot wait to introduce you to her. Her name is Joy Summers, and she is a rock star gut health specialist and expert on optimizing your health. So, look, I can't even tell you how many unbelievable things that she just dumped in this episode of what to do to help you improve your health. So if I were you, I would literally get out a notebook and a pen and start taking notes on this one. If you're driving, maybe get a phone and put this in a voice message or a memo so that you can remember it. But so many good things in here. It's loaded. We talk about gut health, obviously, but we talk about so many other things like blue light and what it can do to your system and how it affects you on a regular basis. We talk about maximizing your recovery with sleep, how to improve your sleep. We talk about different supplements. Joy loads us with so much good information. So I cannot wait for you guys to jump in. I don't want to keep talking because I just want you to jump right into this episode. So without further ado, let's jump in and meet Joy Summers. She is amazing.
Welcome to the Muscular Gentleman. Where we don't apologize for being men. Masculinity, sex, fitness, and attraction, helping men reclaim their masculine edge, improve their sex life, get the body they've always wanted, and master their mindset to build a life worth living. This is the Muscular Gentleman, and now your host, Rustin Webb.
All right, Rustin here. I am so excited to have this guest on the show. As you guys know, anytime we can level up any area of our life, that's what I want to do on this show, is teach you guys and discover different ways to do that. The exciting part about this guest is she teaches men about gut health and women, but she is specialized in gut health. This is something that so many people don't address because we don't see it. So I want to introduce her. This is Joy Summers, and I met her in Nashville at a fitness conference, and we had some incredible conversations. She blew me away with some of the things that she does and teaches for her clients. So I had to have her on the show. So welcome, Joy. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then let's just jump in.
Yeah, sweet. I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Joy. I have been, I've been coaching for about 12 years now. Opened a CrossFit gym in Thailand. And when COVID happened, we stopped training at the gym and started really coaching online. And after all of these client consultation calls and really getting to the root problem of what's going on with people, I realized that everyone I talked to had some kind of gut health issue. So that's when I did the deep dive into gut health and balancing blood sugar levels and helping people from that standpoint, rather than just coaching them how to squat. So gut health is my passion, but I love to travel. I'm kind of in between Thailand, Dubai, the States, and then everywhere in between. I was a CrossFitter back in the day. I competed for 7 years, pre-amateur level, got sponsored by several companies in Asia. My best record, I guess, would be a 200 kilo deadlift, which is pretty awesome for a girl. Now I just love helping people, get their life on track.
That's awesome. Now I feel like I saw this on something on social media. Didn't you just go to like a nutrition conference of some kind?
I went to a health optimization summit with some of the world's leading biohackers in London. This was a couple weeks ago. And Ben Greenfield was there. There was a whole bunch of these biohackers. And let me tell you the three top tips that all these guys talked about, right? So all these top doctors, stem cell therapists, whatever. So number one was blue light blocking glass. Light that's being emitted.
I lost for say. Yeah, you're good. So okay. Blue light blocking glasses.
Someone was like, they said, okay, so all the technology for biohacking is really expensive, right? So someone said, what's an under $100 item that we could buy that would benefit us immediately, right? And so blue light blocking glasses, because we have so much artificial light constantly kicked on at us. Mm-hmm. And so, Ben does like red light in the morning and then blue light in the evening. So after dinner, he'll put the glasses on, and that helps us kind of like balance that circadian rhythm, helps our body kind of downregulate and unwind and get us ready for bed. And so he said, you can pick up a pair on Amazon for $35. He's like, that for me would be a no-brainer.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's interesting. I teach this to my guys too on optimizing our energy levels. And one of the, like you just said, the blue blocking light will kind of help at night get melatonin production going again, right? But if we stay up on our phones, our TV, our computer up till like
it never
like 5 minutes before you hit the bed, you're not allowing for that production to take place, right?
Yeah. So he said that. And then he said, like, if you can wake up and get 10 minutes of direct sunlight, like into your eyeballs, like don't go outside and wear sunglasses, because that also helps set melatonin levels to regulate us.
And the light, this is what's interesting. I love that you brought this up. So light is different in the morning than like midday, right? Like the UV light that's coming to us at 2 in the afternoon or something, significantly different. And they even, it's funny, I read this recently, and I'll have to find the research, but I swear they said that like morning light almost sets your skin and your body up to have its natural sunscreen levels, to where in the afternoon, if you were exposed in the morning, you don't get sunburn as easily.
Yeah.
Did they talk about that?
And they actually talked about sunscreen, and they said, don't wear it.
Yeah.
They said it's doing more harm than good, right? There's so many environmental toxins that we're always having to, be aware of. They said sunscreen, forget it.
Now, gentlemen listening to this, don't stop wearing sunscreen unless you've talked.
Not yet. Find ones with clean ingredients. Okay. The EWG.org is a website that anybody can go to and literally look at any brand that's on the market, and there's a rating. So each product gets a rating based on the quality and the level of ingredients. So even things like, your face stuff, your shampoo, your conditioner, whatever you're using, that would be a good place to start.
I love that. Yeah. So, okay. So let's keep going. This is really fun.
Okay.
So one,
one.
Lights. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2 is going to be grounding. Okay. So if you've never heard of what grounding is, it's basically just take your shoes off, get in the dirt, walk on the grass, 20 minutes, without your shoes on. And the level of inflammation, your internal inflammation, is going to be reduced significantly. And they've done these MRI scans, basically showing the level of inflammation. So grass, sand in the ocean, any of that is like going to basically calm and lower your inflammation.
Now, this is awesome. So we're discussing basically the Earth has its own electromagnetic frequency, and it's a low level. But then we get on the grid and we're exposed to these high electromagnetic frequencies, which literally changes the connection or the communication of ions between your cells in your body, and it disrupts them, causing all these issues. So this is cool because now let me ask you this. I live in a like suburban neighborhood. So if I walk out onto my lawn, am I technically still kind of like on the grid? I mean, there's wires running underneath my home, right? Is that not enough, or is that actually enough?
That's a really good question, but it brings up one other thing that I just thought of. Okay? One of the tips was, because of all the wires everywhere, he said, if you can pull your bed 1 foot away from the wall, it's going to significantly impact the amount of what is it called? The radiation that's being brought out through your router and all the cords and stuff. Never leave your phones near your bed, like leave it on the other side of the room. But as for grounding, great question. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm in Dubai right now. This is a man-made island. I don't think there's any bit of real grass.
Sure.
But there is a little park. There's like a little patch of grass, and that's obviously going to be better than nothing.
No, that's fantastic. So it's funny you say this. When I go to the ocean, anytime we go, and we were just in Oregon with my family, and I took a nap on the beach. I take the deepest, like, I mean, I pass out on the beach when I take naps on the beach. And I wonder if there's just a level of grounding there that my body just like absolutely soaks up. But
he said that in his talk. He said, have you ever noticed that when you go to the beach, with one of your friends or whatever, and, they're the complainers, they're always complaining about their aches and their joints and their pains, and they get to the beach and you don't hear them complain anymore. He's like, it's not because they just love looking at the view of the ocean. Sure. It's because literally their body has stopped hurting. That's how powerful it is.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And I love the thing about the phone too. Like, I actually tell my man, I'm like, get your phone out of your room if you can. I mean, it's a distraction. It's so funny. I was talking to Frank Rich in one of his podcasts, and he was like, it's such a no-brainer thing, but we're distracted by our phones, so put it out of your view, like get it away from you. But we don't even think we can do that because we're so attached, So
attached. But, the Bluetooth, right? Like they're talking about the, the little ear pods, right? And what that's doing to us. And that is like in our heads all the time. Right. And then your router, and you've probably seen that thing on Instagram, right? Like the little machine that comes and it tells you like how high the radiation levels are. Yep. Not radiation, you're talking about. Your router is terrible. Right. So imagine all those cords behind your bed and you're sleeping there for hours on end just by pulling it just a little bit away from the wall, what that could help us do.
Yeah, that's great. So, gentlemen listening, blue block glasses. We're blocking blue.
Amazon, $35. Go get yourself a pair today.
Yeah, and you're not trying. It doesn't have to be these expensive. Just block the light. And then 2. How many minutes did you say? Just trying
20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes.
20 minutes. That could be.
Go take calls outside. Go answer your emails outside.
Sure. Get on the ground. I love that. And then what else did they say?
Number 3, which I need to do more research on, but they all talked about a water filtration system and how our waters are absolute garbage, and so you've seen all the reports about like the microplastics and stuff in our bottles. And like, imagine we're drinking all these bottles, right? They've been sitting in storage, probably boiling in the sun for gosh knows how long. Then we come and consume it,
Right. Well, and then we're having to filter it, right? So we're putting how much stress on ourselves to try to filter this, these different toxins.
Yeah.
That's really
so. Yeah, I would love to research a couple brands, a couple different products of water filtration systems, because I think that they range quite high. But if we can come up with like a good brand to start recommending, or if someone on your team knows of something about a water filtration system, I think that would be great. I actually just posted yesterday the PFA levels. It's like these chemicals that can't leave our bodies once we consume them are all over soda water. So all the soda water cans, I don't know why just soda water, but yeah, the PFA levels are really high. So it's just becoming more aware of where the source is coming from.
Right. So I believe, and this is just from my own research, but I believe that the higher end kits you're looking for a reverse osmosis filtration system, and that's going to kind of filter out like fluoride,
metals. All the toxins. Yes.
Yeah. Those can be expensive. Yeah.
But one thing with reverse osmosis water is because it's stripped of a lot of the minerals and the salts and stuff, to add just a sprinkle of Celtic salt.
Yes. Yep.
So before it was all like Himalayan salt, but then a lot of the companies got fined for actually adding a pink dye. So no more Himalayan salt. You're looking for a high quality Celtic salt. And that's also, it's great.
Yeah. Celtic sea salt. This stuff, I use this regularly in my diet. Celtic sea salt is literally just salt from like the ocean. I mean, it's got all the minerals that you can look for and electrolytes that your body needs. So a tiny pinch into your water, I'd say if you add too much, to where you can just taste like your water's like sea salt, that's too much. So if you can put in an amount where you don't really know it's there, you're probably getting plenty. Yep.
Totally. So, yeah, I mean, I would recommend everybody buying some kind of like aluminum bottle that they would carry around. I love this one just because it's a liter. And so I like track how much water I'm actually drinking, but I'll sprinkle a little bit of Celtic salt. And then also, I'm a huge fan of essential oils. And so I can flavor my water then with lemon, lime, grapefruit, something that not only tastes good, but also giving me good health benefits.
That's awesome. So so that's really cool. What kind of benefit? And I'm now what's so funny is anytime we talk about any of this stuff, it's like now we're all of a sudden we're opening a can of, all right, the quality of an essential oil matters, right? You can't just go to the store and buy just anything.
Yes. Okay. You cannot ingest it internally unless it says so on the label. And if there's an oil that you should be able to ingest internally, like lemon oil, if it doesn't say you can take it, it means that it's filled with synthetic fillers, right?
And you should not be drinking that.
You should not be drinking it. Yeah. So I use doTERRA. My mom is a naturopathic doctor. And so we were only raised on herbs and oils and homeopathy whenever we got sick. And so she went on this 2-year research project to find the best quality essential oils on the market. That's when we kind of got to doTERRA. But yeah, so lemon is a natural liver cleanser.
Awesome.
So, but when you squeeze a fresh lemon, it A, messes the acidity in your stomach, and B, it can take off some of the enamel on your teeth. So with the oil, because it's extracted, it doesn't do any of that.
That's really
so just for the good benefits.
For the listeners, can you can you spell doTERRA so they can Google doTERRA essential oil?
Yep, DOTERRA.
Okay.
And I can also give you my contact info at the end, and they can reach out to me with any questions, because whether you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, any kind of autoimmune stuff, there is an essential oil that can help with that. Right. Not saying that it's going to like clear everything, but rather than going, on a pill route, to go more of a naturopathic holistic route, this is one thing that I try to do with my clients before going on the antibiotics or, quick oil fun fact. Oregano oil. Okay. Oregano oil has 80% monoterpenes. Okay. Monoterpenes is the main ingredient in an antibiotic.
Interesting.
So when I get sick, I have these little empty veggie caps, and I put like 6 drops of oregano essential oil along with frankincense, which is the Mac Daddy of all the oil, super powerful. And I'll take that for a week straight, and that will be my antibiotic.
That's really fascinating. So you're bypassing the drug.
Yes.
Any side effects, right? And now the antibiotic side of this type of essential oil, does it also like kill off all the good bacteria, or is it more selective, or what? How does that work compared to like just?
No, I mean, because as you said, right, antibiotics will kill your good gut microbiome for up to 2 years.
Good,
right? I mean, that's crazy to me. So people are constantly getting sick because their immune system is so run down because we just keep suppressing it.
Right.
But with oils, I haven't heard any studies or anything saying, I mean, quote me if I'm wrong. But yeah, just good benefits, right? Good positive side effects.
Now, and so you travel all over the world. Like anytime you and I connect you're somewhere else. So you travel all the time. Do you get sick very often?
Never.
Never get sick. Okay.
Never sick, honestly. Okay. And people make fun of me because my suitcase is like half of a pharmacy with all of my vitamins. I'm carrying a bag of essential oils around, and I love them all. And I'm like, I would rather my weight consume with oils than high heels. So
so this is for all the people listening that aren't watching this on YouTube. Joy is a beast. Okay. She carries herself well and has all the muscle that you would want. but you are still very feminine. So I love that about you. But if you're listening, she doesn't get sick. She has a body that most women would kill for. So, but just
Maybe
for
men
like, yeah, look, men, yeah, exactly. There are men that would kill for your deltoids alone, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you have something really well working for you, and I really think this is tracing it back to your passion with gut health, because I think as men, we kill ourselves on so many levels. Just the blue light example, the amount of exposure we have with stress, our disruption with testosterone levels. So let's dive in, because we have you here, into gut health and how this is going to help men like raise their testosterone levels naturally and improve, like not get sick as often, things like that. Like let's dive in. So what kind of things do you address with people for their gut health?
All right. Well, let's start with, 70 to 80% of our immune system is in your gut, right? So all of the issues start with here. So if this isn't healed, then nothing else is really going to be balanced and healed, right? So think about your gut as like a wall of soldiers. And if these soldiers get like knocked down, there's going to be gaps and holes. And that's where all the toxins and that's where all the things start happening, right? Is like they fill into these holes. And so I recommend everyone being on a pre and a probiotic, getting a good digestive enzyme, right? Because, we talk about protein and, eating carbs at the right time and all of these things. But if you're eating these meals and your body is not able to break down the food and become more bioavailable, then you're wasting most of it, right? So that's on the supplement side. But then I really look at like meal timing, number one, and then the order in which you eat your foods.
Which most people have they don't even think about it.
No clue. Absolutely. They just eat whatever's on their plate. Okay. So yeah, we can talk about that first. So say you have a plate of like eggs, home fries, sausage, and a little bit of salad. Okay. That's like a standard American breakfast, right? Most people would eat, what do you think most people would eat first off that plate?
I'm going for the eggs.
Oh, okay. Most people, you and I would go for the eggs. Most people go for the home fries, right? They put home fries in the ketchup and then they eat that first. Okay. If you've been sleeping all night, your body's been in a fasted state, right? I don't care what time you're eating breakfast, you're eating this meal now. If you eat your carbs first, your insulin levels are going to go straight up. Okay. If you eat your vegetables first, chew that really well, then you eat your eggs, cut into some sausage, eat that, this point's maybe 5-10 minutes, having good conversation with your friends. And then you eat your home fries or the carbs. Instead of it going like this, it's going to be way more balanced.
Okay. And for you listeners, she's basically showing the difference between a spiked insulin level and like a more regulated insulin level, where it's like your blood sugar levels are more, I guess, on a straight line or less of a spike, right?
Yeah, they're balanced because the typical person has a high carb breakfast, high carb lunch. They're constantly chasing that sugar roller coaster all day, right? They have oatmeal for breakfast, boom, sugar levels go up. 2 hours later, they come down and crash. Then they need something else that's, sugary or another piece of fruit or something. It goes straight back up and then it goes straight back down. Right. So if we can work on just the order, I'm not telling you to like take out any foods, right? I'm not restricting you of eating that meal. I'm just saying, eat it well, right? Eat it right.
Yeah. That's great.
And then the other thing with gut health is understanding how many times you chew your food, right? Like people eat in such a rush and they're like scarfing it down, at work, in the car, in between clients. And your body is going to be in a constant state of cortisol. Like it's that like rushing fight or flight method, rather than if you're relaxed and really taking time to like chew and digest it, there's going to be a big difference in your digestion.
Yeah, that's great. The men listening to this, so you have an enzyme in your mouth called amylase. And this is where you actually digest carbohydrates, is in your mouth. And so it's funny to watch my brother-in-law. I'm sorry for calling you out here, Kyle, but he's a firefighter. Okay. And he literally swallows his food. It is every time they come over for dinner, we go over to their house. It is like everyone's starting on their second or third bite and he's done with his food. And I think he's gone through this, like almost this, process of, okay, I've got to down my food because I'm going to get a call any second to leave the firehouse and have to go take care of, whatever. And so there's this like constant rush to like slam your food. I could be wrong, but I swear that's got to be part of his profession. But there's a lot of people that I know that do the same thing. They just completely swallow their food. They don't chew. It's just like scarf it up.
So bad for you.
Yeah, yeah. And so, just digesting. When she says chew your food, if you're digesting it, she's saying you're digesting it in your mouth. Like there are parts of there's certain foods that you're going to start digesting right away. That break
even your smell, like the second the smells hit, that's when your enzymes are being released. Right. And so I also tell clients, I'm like, don't chug a whole bunch of water before or during your meal. Wait a little bit because those enzymes are really important. And I think a lot of us are actually lacking those enzymes. And that's why a good digestive enzyme might help break that food down a little bit better.
So it's just interesting because there's this correlation with testosterone for men that's on a major decline. Like I think it was roughly 50% where our levels of testosterone for men is 50% of what was like 100 years ago, right? It's just, literally in half. So would you say this is very similar in that sense where our digestive enzymes are lower than they normally are, or what? Because
everyone's stressed. Everyone's in a rush. 100 years ago, they were chilling, right? They like go kill their meat. They'd come back and the village would be there. Everyone's just really casual. They'd have like small, and now it's just this go, go, go society where you're picking the kids up from school, taking them to soccer practice, doing all the things. You never have time for you.
That makes sense. I love that. Yeah. So a digestive enzyme you suggested, and then you talked about a prebiotic and a probiotic. So anytime I take a probiotic, I swear I have gas and I have stomach bloating. So
and that's not the right probiotic for you.
Right. So how does someone figure out the best probiotic that's going to match with them? Because isn't everybody's microbiome kind of different?
Like not one single human in the entire world has the same gut microbiome. There's like 39 million different gut microbiomes, and not even your identical twin sibling would have the same gut microbiome as you. It's crazy. Okay. I love doing a craft, and you could even do this with your kids at home if you wanted to. But say you had a couple different strands, right? You go to the store and it's like billion strands of live bacteria, blah, blah, blah. If you if it's in capsule form, open the capsule, you'll want a cup of room temperature milk. Put it in a bowl, open the capsule, dump it all in. If it's a powder, dump it all in, stir it up, and then just let it sit for 12 hours or let it sit overnight. Okay. If you wake up the next day and it's like yogurt, if it's like cream, it's a pretty good probiotic. It's working. Yeah. If it's still liquidy and runny and stuff, you know that it's just a marketing scam.
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, I'll tag you. I made one. It's on my Instagram. I'll tag you in my little experiment. It's really fun. Yeah.
That's crazy. So and because they're so different, how do you end up finding a probiotic that kind of matches with different people? Like, what do you do this with your clients? Is this something you kind of work on?
I found one. So doTERRA is actually more famous for their supplements than they are for their essential oils.
Okay.
So the one that I'm taking is actually double encapsulated. So because if your body's not ready to absorb the probiotic, then you're just going to pee it out, right? So the pre it's like a parachute. The pre goes down, opens up, gets the gut microbiome ready, and then the pro kind of hits it and then takes it from there. So the one I found, I absolutely love. I haven't looked back. I recommend this one to all of my clients because I can actually see the results. We've been taking vitamins and supplements for years, right? Everybody is like, take your fish oil, take this, take that. And you never know if it's actually working.
Right.
You actually don't feel it. And so it wasn't until I tried these that like I had a lot of my own symptoms kind of clear up, and I stopped having like 2 p.m. energy crashes and, acne and constipation. I think most men are regular. I would say that men have bowel movements more frequently than women. With women, I see constipation and IBS. With men, it's more on the IBS side. But again, that's just really looking at your diet. And then I don't know how do you coach on nutrition? You're not a big intermittent fasting fan, are you?
I'm not against it. It's funny. I preach to the guys in my program with my meal planning. If you go to bed, let's say your last meal is 7:00 and you don't eat again till the next day at 7:00 in the morning, you've got a 12-hour fast there going, which to me is plenty long to basically elevate growth hormone levels while you're sleeping. Those kinds of things, which blue blocking glasses it's so funny you brought that up because I just taught that in a coaching call 2 weeks ago. But those kind of things can help with healing. But yeah, intermittent fasting to me for what I teach, it's give me 12 hours and you got a good window of
that's still a little bit of a fast. Yeah. So I created a 10-day gut cleanse program, and that's basically my bestseller. And so in the 10-day gut cleanse, I talk about doing a 16-hour fast for the first 10 days. Because I think after a certain hour, men's natural testosterone levels also kind of go through the roof, but also you're setting up for a process called autophagy. So AUTOPHAGY. And this is the process of anti-aging and cellular renewal.
Right.
So if you think about your cells going in there and like clearing out all the old dead ones and then completely refreshing them with new ones, this is that whole anti-aging thing. Right. But
this is the process, right, of regeneration of cells. Yeah.
Correct. And that only happens during longer fasts. They say 16, 17, 18-hour fasts is when that kicks in. So I tell my clients, I said, look, there's two main kinds of fasting. There's your autophagy fast, and there's many, I guess, but my two favorite ones. Okay. So one is autophagy. The second one is a ketone fast. And on a ketone fast, like I want everybody waking up as a fat burner, right? Instead of a sugar burner. Right. I want them waking up. I want their body being able to use ketones and using their fat for energy rather than hitting that carb source first. So in a ketone fast, you can have bulletproof coffee, which is MCT oil mixed with butter, blend it all up really good. Like those the MCTs are going to hit your brain. They give you all that brain power. You can also add collagen powder to it, right? That's going to keep you in a ketone fast, but it would keep you out of an autophagy fast. The only thing that you can have in an autophagy fast is water, black coffee, and tea. So anything with a calorie basically would kick you out of the cellular regeneration fast.
Okay. So we get people asking all the time about what about the keto diet, right? It's not new, but it's just all of a sudden it's a fad, right? What, when you talk about a ketone fast, can you tell everybody listening, like the difference between that and actually going into ketosis or somebody trying to go through the keto diet?
Yeah, sure. I go back and forth on keto. It's definitely not a lifestyle diet. This is not a forever thing. Right. But totally different than what I'm talking about right now. So I want everybody waking up using their fat for energy. And we can do that by doing these longer fasts, right? Your body is going to start producing more ketones. So if you think glucose is to carbs, glycogen is to carbs, as ketones is to fat. Okay. They're both energy sources.
Yep.
Right. But if you wake up and you have that banana, or you have that oatmeal, or you have that slice of toast and butter, all of a sudden you're going to be burning sugars all day. And like we talked about before, chasing that sugar roller coaster. If you wake up, even from a 12-hour fast, and your first meal of the day is proteins and fats, your blood sugar, is going to be balanced. You're going to continue to be burning through more ketones throughout the day. you're not going to have those like hunger crashes, right?
Mm.
So first meal, proteins and fats. Second meal, go crazy on the carbs, right?
Cool.
Do your proteins and carbs in the middle of the day where your body's actually going to burn through them and use them.
Okay. Yep.
Then typically a protein shake of some sort, you train, and then you have your dinner. I mean, I would recommend more proteins and fats, just so again, like you're going to bed feeling satiated. Fats are great for balancing hormones as well. Wake up, repeat, and that little process right there has helped with so many people's insulin issues.
That's awesome. This is so funny because I teach this with all of my men and any client I've ever worked with. I would say, and for you guys listening, I'd say the biggest problem I see with most people's diets is they do not get enough protein in their diet. It
100%.
seems to be such an issue. Protein seems to have, I don't know if what
I love protein. Why don't you love protein?
I don't know. And I don't know why I don't know what research is out there that I haven't seen, but people are like, what about my kidneys and my liver? And I'm like, your organs are safe from protein. You're not going to, there's gobs meta-analysis research showing that you can't overdo protein levels and cause any havoc to the body. But yeah, it's so fascinating because people just don't seem to get or grasp the concept that honestly, one of the fastest ways to kind of fixing your diet is just get your protein levels up.
And I like clients that, the tracking is too overwhelming for them. I say, look, just track your protein. I just want to know, protein's easy to track,
sure,
right? You're eating 4 ounces of chicken, 6 ounces of steak, throw that in there. And people are always amazed at how low their numbers are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no dude that should be eating under 130 grams. You know what I mean? Like at minimum 130. Most guys are way on the higher spectrum.
Yeah.
How many grams do you think you're eating a day?
Oh, easily over 200.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of the men in my program get worried, like, am I going to be eating too much protein? I'm like, no. And if we somehow figure out how for you to eat too much protein, then we can back off. But until we find that spot, like, let's go, Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a great online grocery store in the States called Thrive Market. Have you heard of this?
You know what's funny? I think you brought this up to me in Nashville. You talked to me about Thrive Market. Yeah.
Probably did, because I love it. And I tell
Okay.
all my clients about it. Everyone's going on a summer holiday, right? They're doing a road trip with their kids. They're flying somewhere. I said, go to Thrive Market, buy all of your healthy, clean snacks and take it on the road with you. So you can get great chomps, beef jerky sticks. You can get clean tortilla chips. You can get clean cheese puffs or clean cookies or whatever the snacks that you need. But there's no reason that you can't have, the beef jerky and the protein on hand for when you're in a rush.
Right. That's awesome. So Thrive, what'd you say? Thrive Market. Okay. Yeah. So check out, I'm sure you can just Google Thrive Market. It'll pop up.
Oh yeah. And so I think it's like $5 a month as a membership, but literally my inbox is always full of them giving away $25 worth of food here, or, try a new thing. They're a great company. They deliver like next day. So
That's awesome.
It's a no-brainer.
Like online healthy Costco.
Yeah.
Right?
Honestly, you don't have to do the runaround of trying to find, good, organic, clean items, right? Because, I think you've been following me for a little while now. I'm all about finding clean swaps.
Right. Yep.
So if you and your wife want to have a pizza or make some nachos or brownies for the kids, fine, totally fine. But let's do it with the clean ingredients.
Yeah, that's great.
Right?
That's great.
So yeah, I mean, how much do you talk about seed oils?
Well, it's funny. I just had a coaching call yesterday with my men. We talk about the seed or, avoiding certain oils, like rapeseed, things like that, canola. But I don't dive into all the great ones because I have a meal plan set for them in a certain way where it'll address it, but I definitely make sure they avoid those high omega-6. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you guys, if you only do this one thing tomorrow, okay, it's to read the labels on everything, because some of the worst oils that we can be consuming are going to be your canola, vegetable, soybean, sunflower oil, rapeseed, like you said. I mean, and the crazy thing is like most of us don't cook with canola oil at home or sunflower oil, but it's literally in everything. You know, flip over the back of your peanut butter, the back of your hummus, your chips, whatever it is. They're sneaking these seed oils into everything because it's cheap and, you know, it tastes good.
Yeah.
But really it's a high inflammatory oil. So the only oils that I want people to consume are going to be your olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter I love, and I would probably do ghee.
Ghee. Okay. So, and ghee is essentially a butter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell, so I'm going to go buy all this stuff tomorrow, right? How do I make sure I'm getting a high quality? What's like the parameters around the type of olive oil that I would buy, right?
Oh,
like unprocessed.
I know like a dark glass jar is going to be better than like ones that are see-through.
Okay.
I haven't done cold pressed for sure. The high oleic sunflower oil is going to be better than the regular sunflower oil. Cause sometimes the high oleic ones are in like organic stuff. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you a pass on that. But yeah, anytime that you can buy organic, I mean, I would be doing that anyways. Okay. But then, yeah, I know for oils, like you never want a see-through plastic bottle.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. The bottle's going to leach, toxins, right? Plastic anyway. And I read an interesting thing about like just olive oil, but oils in general. Some of these oils that you get at like, it might even be Costco, and the grocery store have been sitting in bins for like 5+ years or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so trying to find, I believe there's some online places where you can find olive oil where they tell you when it was fresh pressed, how it was cold pressed, and all these other things. But yeah, that stuff makes a big.
I'd like to know that. Yeah, I'd really like to know that.
Yeah. Yep. So I'll have to let me look that up because I actually have a resource on olive oil where they tell you when it was made, and you get to buy it with that actual date on there, which is kind of nice.
Yep. And like, don't be afraid to use these oils, you know, like I would much rather have someone, you know, put a couple tablespoons to cook with than the sprayable stuff. That's, you know, again, tons of chemicals. The pan. Oh, so bad.
Which I think is just canola oil, right? With some extra chemicals. Yeah.
Although I saw, okay, so they sell a can of sprayable avocado oil and it says 0 calories. 0 calories. Okay. But then when you read the serving size, it says like 538 servings in that one can, right? Like how can you be spraying nothing? You know? Yeah. And again, this is just really good marketing. Right. And all the buzzwords.
Yeah. They're finding loopholes on how it's funny because like White Claw and these different drinks that people consume, especially during the summer. This is appropriate for this, but it'll be like, oh, this is only 100 calories and there's like no carbs in it. So it'll be like 2 grams of carbs, but the whole thing's 100 calories. And then there's zeros on everything else. It's like, do you realize they're basically omitting the sugar alcohol because they don't have to put that on the label. And now they're just claiming there's only 2 grams of carbs when you're actually consuming 100 calories worth of carbs with each can. So, yeah.
What they can do on marketing these days is this is what's messing people up, right? You think that you're eating clean, you think that you're buying something good, and yet it's just absolutely. I have clients send me pictures from the grocery store all the time. I'm like, if you don't know what that reads, all those crazy, you know, words towards the end of the labels and stuff, I'm like, if you can't recognize it, your body's not going to be able to recognize it. You know, and then we're feeding our kids all these foods with dyes and all the sugars and all of these things. And you wonder why all of our kids are so hyper.
Right. Well, it's so interesting that you bring that up about kids. I watched a documentary and I cannot remember the name of it, but I was watching it with my wife and they showed this woman and her daughter was severely overweight at like 12 years old. And so they asked her, what are you feeding her? And she's like, oh, I'm feeding her everything healthy. So they went through her kitchen and, she's buying, there's two types of what was not Pop-Tarts, but it was all boxed food. And it was just like the healthy version. So this had whole wheat in it, but it was like, here's a pizza pocket. It was a pizza pocket, but it was the healthy pizza pocket. And so she was buying everything that was labeled healthy on the box, but it was nothing. There was no fresh food, no fresh vegetables or anything like that. It was just boxed items, but she thinks as a consumer, she's eating healthy.
Right. It's just ignorance, it's just people aren't educated about this.
Right.
I was listening to a podcast with Wes Watson.
Yep.
So after we met him in Nashville, I just got on a kick. I just think he's one of the coolest dudes. And he was talking about his 3-year-old son and how he feeds him protein shakes and lots of protein and lots of vegetables. And sometimes they'll go to Chick-fil-A for, a family meal or whatever.
Sure.
But his son is starting off already eating a lot of protein. So it's like, it's our responsibility as parents to give them the best nutrients. I mean, you're setting up their gut microbiome for their future, right? For all the food allergies and intolerances and stuff. You feed your kids crap now, you're only going to make them worse for their adult life. Yep. And that's our responsibility.
Well, and it starts with you and how you eat. So my kids watch me eat all the time because I'm one of those guys that consumes 5 meals a day, but they watch me, they come up to me all the time and they ask me for a bite. And so they'll eat my turkey, they'll eat my steak, they'll eat whatever I'm consuming. And it's funny you say that about Wes Watson because my kids will actually come up to me. They know I have a protein shake and they want to taste it.
Love
that. But they get so used to it that they just like,
their taste buds are different,
right? And they're used to,
different than most.
They're used to watching, right? They're going to watch you more than what you say. You can say all day you need to eat healthier, go eat vegetables, but if they're watching you do it, then they're automatically buying in. But it's what they see.
It's like when they see you do burpees and then they want to get down and do burpees with you,
right?
That's the cutest.
Yes. My kids are like all about push-ups. They're like, let me show you. And my son, he's doing like hip thrusts, but he's figuring it out. He's 3. So, but
golfer?
What's that?
Golfer?
Yes. The golfer.
The next tiger. Yes.
Right. They
add more protein.
Yeah. My wife made a Father's Day, a video of all the kids and she said, what does your dad do for a living? And my 3-year-old, he's like, he's a gentleman. So because I have the muscular gentleman, so he just tells people, yeah, he's a gentleman, which is really fun. But they soak this stuff up, and I think that's one of the biggest problems. Childhood obesity is insane right now. It's catching up to adults, and that's frightening. But it has everything to do with them watching you and what you do. And for the men out there, it's like if you want to level up your masculinity in your life, it does. It starts with your gut. Yeah.
Back to that. I have a question for you though.
Yes.
I don't know if your kids are old enough yet, but like I know for like my sisters, like they're almost sometimes afraid of letting their kids go to the neighbor's house or go to their friends' houses because of what they are going to feed them.
Oh,
like other parents like don't have that same kind of concept. And so it's just a refrigerator full of crap. And then they come back home. Right. And now they're cranky, they're moody. They're having all these like crazy sugar ups and downs.
That's a great point. My kids aren't quite old. I mean, we go to their cousins, and eat over there. But yeah, I would definitely think that's something to think about. My 8-year-old daughter, she eats pretty clean with us on a regular basis. So if she goes to a friend's, I'm not so concerned about like one meal or something like that.
Yeah. No, that's
but at the same time, it's interesting because I probably haven't been aware enough to observe their behavior after her behavior after coming back from a friend's house. That's something I should definitely kind of key in on.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so back to gut health. Another tip would be to increase the amount of fermented foods in your diet. So kimchi, sauerkraut, tempeh, some good pickles, that aren't soaked in sugar, some kefir. Kefir is like that, thick milk almost. It's like a yogurt drink almost, but really good enzymatically. So to be increasing the number or the amount of fermented foods, good sourdough bread, even.
I love sourdough bread. I think that is the best bread on the planet.
The best.
It is so good.
Best. So in my 10-day gut cleanse, it's like get a pre and probiotic, add more fermented foods to your day, do a little bit longer of a fast. It doesn't have to be 16, but push that back to give your gut a rest. Eliminate, for the 10 days, I say to do no gluten. So, absolutely no gluten, but rice, potatoes, all that's fine. And then stay away from the sugars, right? So 10 days of that. And then on day 11, I treat them with a 24-hour bone broth fast. Oh yeah. Bone broth is the other thing. Getting your bone broth in, whether you make it yourself, which is super easy, but the amount of nutrients in a cup of bone broth is so good for healing. And packed with collagen. You can get some really good bone marrow inside of there. So yeah, bone broth is great.
So with the fermented foods, is this like a prebiotic? Is that what is kind of helping? Okay. So that's what's helping with the gut, right? Is
yes.
Is
lots of good prebiotic foods. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bone broth, is that similar? Is that a prebiotic or just inflammatory?
I don't think it's considered a prebiotic, but it's definitely a gut healer. And I know that it is packed with collagen, right? And so there's again another 10, 12 grams of protein that you can be drinking to not only, get your protein, but heal your gut.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'll usually start after my fast, I'll start my day with a cup of bone broth and then have my first meal.
Okay. And for men out there, getting enough protein in, is this something you could use bone broth as a soup to put meat in it? Make your own. But you can even find them in little packets now. And I'm bring it to work, fill it with some hot water or something. But yeah, there's no wrong time of the day to really be drinking it, but you definitely want it hot. You don't want to be drinking cold bone broth because it's gross. I've done that before. I sat on it for too long in a mug and I decided I was going to drink it anyway. And I was not.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, all right, we've got for gut health, prebiotics, probiotics, major contributors to getting everything back on track. Yep. Enzymes are going to help us digest the foods. So consuming too much water while you're eating, is this basically diluting the enzymes, or what is that kind of the issue there?
I think it's just not letting them do their jobs, right? Because enzymes come in, release, and then they just don't have, small sips, right? Sure. Small sips along the way, and then drink before and after.
That makes sense.
Chew your food, be in a relaxed state when you're eating your food, buy some fermented foods, focus on your stress levels, because people don't realize there's no tangible number that we can give someone for their stress. Right. But that has, think about the emotion and the trauma that we really do hold in our gut, so it's not just a quick fix of okay, these are great tips, but if you have other things going on, there's a lot of emotion and energy that's stored down here. Right. And so it's all trying to figure out what it is that's going on really underneath.
That's great. I like that. And the hormones being released with stress that can, I'm assuming, cause havoc on your gut as well, or influence that with cortisol levels and stuff like that. That's great. Joy, this has been fun. Okay. So people are listening and they're like, I need to fix my gut. So can you tell us, where can we find you and things like that? How can we get hold of you?
Cool. I'm on Instagram. It's at Coach Joyous, Joyous 05. And I'm on Facebook, Joy Summers. And if anybody ever gets the chance to come to Thailand, you can come find me training on a beach somewhere, drinking a fresh coconut, watching a sunset, or somewhere else around the world.
That's awesome. We have to do another podcast because I have to talk about the tiger story.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll do this again, and there's so much of this stuff we can talk about, so it'll be a blast. But don't let me forget that, because I want the listeners to hear that story. That's fascinating story. Thank you so much for being here. I'll make sure all that information gets put into the description for people to find you as well. And we appreciate all the tips that you just dropped on everyone. And
that was a lot of information to consume all at once. So you might want to go back and take some notes.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
You've been listening to The Muscular Gentleman. Finally, a podcast that's unapologetic for being a man. Thanks for joining us this week. Make sure you visit the website, www.themusculargentleman.com. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you like the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or just tell a buddy about the show. That would help too. Don't forget, Rustin is available for private coaching. Embrace your masculinity and live the life you've always wanted. See you next time on The Muscular Gentleman.